We're continuing our conversation about emotional resiliency, finding empowerment within ourselves, within our community. Amy, what next?
So, well, where we left off was kind of talking about how there's an importance to understanding mind, body, and spirit separately, or mind, body, emotion separately. And the reality is when we move through the world, they're all interplaying all at once. So we want to become, you know how like when you very first start to learn to drive a car or get into a new car, it's like, oh my gosh, where's the seatbelt? Where is the ignition? How does the steering work? Like, where's the shifter, right? And it's very awkward. And then the more times we get into that car and pay attention to how each individual one works, we do it much quicker, right? Mm-hmm. Unless there's something that gets in our way. So it's very much like that with the mind, body, spirit, or emotion interface, that it's really important to cultivate a relationship of getting to know and discover these different parts of ourselves, and and recognize they're always moving and changing. So we can't be entitled to have like a one and done, but really be committed to be in a long-term relationship with understanding what those are. So from the emotional perspective, when we're having a heightened emotion, instead of, oh my gosh, I'm crazy, this is awful, this is whatever, we could say, oh, I'm experiencing something that's intense. I'm having an emotion. My emotional system needs to digest that by my accepting that I'm having this, okay? Then my mental capacity, we want to see what are our beliefs. I think this is nuts and I can't handle it, and we don't speak about it in intensity, but in this is out of control. Our belief is that we can't handle things that are intense, that's out of the rails, but we really can. We're very resilient. And so if we can practice knowing that I can do hard things, I can be in something that's intense and go, okay, I'm just experiencing this, then we can let it pass and have the belief that we will be able to move on and have clarity of thought. A lot of times I will bring something in, like when there's something very difficult that I didn't think I'd be able to do, I will say, oh, well, that is an untrue belief. And really what I can do, and so I've found this language that I can do it with ease. So, you know, coming on and being on the news, for example, it's like, well, that's not
easy for some of us.
That's not an everyday thing, right? I can say my name and then sometimes I choke on what am I going to say next, even though it's something I really know. Right. But if I say to myself, I can do this with ease, it's just something I'm not used to, then suddenly I'm bringing a belief that I can navigate and be resilient. Sure. So where's the mental North Star? And that could be around so many different things.
Yeah.
Right? And then the physical, where do we feel it in our body?
Right. Right. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
You know, we were talking during the break about how, you know, so often we find ourselves in situations and that in the moment, you're not probably going to get yourself out of that situation. It's like, I'm here right now, but we have 100% control over how we perceive that situation. Mm-hmm. And so that's what you're saying about, like, what is my belief about this situation? And so much of the suffering that we can feel in any situation is not from the situation itself, but really our heads, you know, creating this perception and this belief about it. As you were talking, I was reminded of a study that was done years ago, and they were looking at gunshot wounds from World War II veterans, and comparing that with similar kinds of gunshot wounds from like a accidental drive-by shootings in a city or something. Mm-hmm. And they found, it's a World War II heroes, right? When they were shot and wounded, they were taken to the hospital, they were cared for, and they were heroes. They came home, even though they were wounded, had these wounds, it was glorified in a way, compared to the accidental drive-by shooting, who the belief is, I'm a victim, this isn't fair, this isn't okay, this isn't right. So those wounds took much longer to heal and were way more painful when they were comparing, whereas like the similar kinds of wounds healed much more quickly with less pain, based on the belief system. So this is where like the physical and the mental really intertwine.
I love this, not that I love any of the things that have happened in this story, but what I love is that you brought them up because they do happen in our world. They do happen with people who we know and love. They do happen when we're reading the news, and even if we're sitting in our living room in the armchair, we're still soaking it up. And so how we interpret these things and how we let them linger or not, how we think, okay, we can let this pass through instead of holding on to the awfulness. And there are so many awful things that happen, but we can let some of those move.
Yeah. All right, well, we do have to take another break. When we come back, I want to talk about how to get involved with some of the things that you have going on. And also, sometimes this can be a complex conversation, but where to start, where somebody should just get started. So we'll do that when we get